On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, I flew to California to drive a 718 Cayman GTS. And I'm gonna let you guys know what I think about it in the back roads of Southern California. Welcome everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, and I have right here a 718 Cayman GTS. I flew out to California and I'm renting this car for today on Turo. Now Turo did not pay me to do this. I've used Turo in the past and out here on business, and figured I would spend some free time that I have renting a GTS. So we are going to be taking this thing for a drive today in what is left of near Malibu and Mulholland Highway. This is pretty crazy seeing what damage the wildfires did out here. Obviously you hear about it and read about it online, but until you get out here and just see the miles and miles of just charred earth, and some of it started to come back with all this rain that they've had recently, but still pretty crazy. People living in motorhomes, rebuilding out here. This is pretty wild. So an interesting episode, but let's take this thing for a spin and see if we can find some of the fun roads that still exist out here in Southern California. All right, in full disclosure, I went with a new format here, a la Matt Farah and the Smoking Tire on this one. I'm not going to call it a one-take knockoff, but more of a tribute to Matt's format. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below as to whether you enjoyed it or not. Okay, the 718 Cayman GTS, just put it in sport mode here, and we're in manual. Drop down a gear. It's a nice twisty little road here. So the biggest thing that we need to talk about first with this car is the engine, because that is the big talk. Oh wow, this road is varying degrees of condition. Anyway, the engine. Everyone knows that they went with a 4-cylinder for this generation instead of the tried and true straight 6. Now, there are some pluses and minuses to that so far after I've driven this car for about 5 hours now. The pluses are, it is fast, like very fast. You get all the turbo torque, 365 horsepower out of this 4-cylinder. It's a 2.5 liter. Yeah, it's quick. So that's the positive. And you also do get some turbo noise, which I really, really appreciate. There's a lot of bypass valve. There's a lot of whooshing going on. I'm really glad that Porsche didn't mute this engine. You know, a lot of manufacturers try and mute their turbo cars because some people don't really understand what those turbo noises are. But in an enthusiast car like a Cayman, come on, everyone knows what it is. So I appreciate that. But what I don't appreciate is the sewing machine type exhaust note. It's not that exciting. The only thing that's exciting are some pops and bangs of backfires that cyclist here will be ginger around. You get some pops and bangs when you let off the throttle, which can be fun. Everyone likes a good backfire, but I can see that getting old after a while. I don't think that's like a lasting quality. And what a beautiful view. I've been driving all morning and it's been pissing rain, so I finally get some decent weather here, which is very much welcomed. But yeah, just don't love the sound of this thing. PDK, okay. So this is my first experience with a PDK transmission. And it is everything everyone says it is. I mean, gosh, this is bar none, the best automatic transmission I've ever experienced. So obviously the shifts are super fast. Everyone knows that. But whatever millisecond shifts it is, like I'm sure somebody has that stat. Doesn't really matter. It's blink of an eye, super fast. But there are two surprises to this transmission for me. Number one are its low speed capabilities. It's really good at low speed, which is something that a lot of dual clutches are not. They get kind of caught between gear and they're kind of jerky. This thing is great. I mean, I've been in a lot of traffic, go figure, LA traffic, in this car, and it has been a non-issue.
Well, this didn't take long.
The second biggest surprise for me is right here. I'll just do it. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do this. You're not supposed to shift mid-corner. And with this PDK, you can do whatever you want. You could shift whenever you want, and it doesn't unsettle the car. Porsche is just absolute gem here. Now, that's obviously chassis dynamics, that's transmission programming, that's all kinds of things. But, gosh, it's just so wonderful. It's almost too easy. Pretty crazy. Now, granted, I would still rather have a manual transmission in this car, especially in a Cayman. Come on, like, in a Cayman, you want a manual. I want to be doing something here with my right hand. Don't look into that. Get your mind out of the gutter. You know what I mean. Shifting through the gears here, rev matching, heel toe downshift. That's what I want to do in a Cayman. So PDK is nice, but I still want a manual. This car is so planted, and God, this steering is so good. The biggest thing I noticed right away with this car, it is the right size. I absolutely love my GT350. I have a Mustang GT350. I think they're amazing cars. I talk them up so much, and rightfully so. I think it's a phenomenal package, but there's that one but. I wish it was a little smaller. I mean, if it was, there's no perfect car, but if it was a perfect car, it would be like more this size. Smaller, lighter, just a better equation, man. Like, I know if I had my GT350 on this road, it would take up more of the road. And this Cayman is just the right size. It feels so light through the steering wheel. I can't believe where we're at with electric power steering these days. I mean, Porsche has this so dialed. I mean, you could fool me. If you told me it was a hydraulic rack, I would believe you. A lot of information coming through the wheel. It's super accurate. And I think where this thing really shines is just the turn-in. It turns in so quick. Mid-engine. Man, mid-engine's so good. I loved my 911, my 997. It has a special place in existence. But that rear engine is inherently a little flawed, right? As good as they make that thing, as good as they make it, it's a little bit flawed, and it's not as good as the mid-engine. This thing is just so well balanced. I am really enjoying it here on this road. The only thing really right now preventing me from truly loving this car is just, we're so about efficiency now. Fuel efficiency, you got to make the most power per liter, and that's all well and good. Cars get really fast. This is a 2.5 liter, makes 265 horsepower. That's pretty awesome. But man, they kind of lose some of their character when they get so efficient, don't they? Because it's better for fuel economy, better for power, you make more power, but it just kind of sounds kind of stale to me. I would like a little more drama. I mean, it's stupid fast. The throttle response isn't as good as the 6s that it replaced because there is a little bit of turbo lag. And you're going to get that when you have a 2.5 liter engine that makes 365 horsepower. You're going to get that. Now, in true Porsche fashion, the driving position is wonderful, just bang on. I get the seat so low. I love that about Porsches, how low I can get. I want my ass to be dragging on the asphalt. It just makes for a better driving experience. You feel more hunkered down, more confident in the car as opposed to sitting on top of it with so many cars. So you sit real low. The steering wheel is wonderful, great size. I've already talked about the feel. Alcantara. These paddles are nice, of course. God, this car is so fast. I mean, we're going uphill and it moves. You have all your adjustments here for damping. You have your adjustments for loud exhaust. We're making pops, of course. As far as the seats go, they're pretty good. They're not great. My GT350 has better seats, which, believe it or not, is kind of crazy. But let's see. How do I describe? They are pretty good in the hips and waist area. I'm a thinner guy. Fits me really well. And I by no means have like broad shoulders, but it's really tight in the shoulder area. Like I'm just like hitting these bolsters on the side in the shoulder area. I would like them to kind of open up a little bit more and hug me in a different way. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But, you know, I'm a bit nitpicking here. I mean, I'm nitpicking because it's an $80,000 car. You know, Caymans are kind of no longer that cheap because when you want to get the S or the GTS, which is obviously the one you want, that shit gets expensive, man. Like, this is a very expensive car. But on a road like this, I mean, you'd be kind of hard-pressed to find a car that will go faster for the money. Once again, a lot of that comes down to size, nimbleness, and really confidence. Confidence I have in this car after not being in it for very long is extremely high. Now, what a view this is. The interior is pretty nice. I don't know if it's $80,000 nice. Nice materials here and there. This Alcantara on the points on the center console, on the door, kind of where the handle is, obviously the wheel. It's a nice touch, but kind of needs a little more. I really like the center stack. Very simple, very Porsche, and it looks sharp, sleek. The screen is fine. I mean, I haven't done any of the fancy stuff other than connect my phone via Bluetooth, and it's worked fine. It's really kind of all you need to do in a driver's car, right? Oh, and that's a stop sign. Yeah, good brakes, really good brakes. Man, the traction management is really good. You kind of put your foot down and it figures a lot out for you. And I guess to that extent, you know, as far as the PDK goes, I think that might be my biggest complaint, is that just, it's almost too easy. Like, I'm not having to work very hard here, which is something, you know, some people like that. They just want to get in, point, squirt, go. Whatever the phrase is. They just want to go fast now. And this car is very good at that. I mean, you just pop in and go fast, but it doesn't make you work very hard for it. So there's kind of like a little less of a reward at the end, if I'm honest. Once again, still quite a nice experience. But I had my expectations pretty high for this car. Man, this road is fun. Gosh, this devastation here is pretty crazy. I have no frame of reference. I have no idea what this looked like beforehand. But just to see this like charred, all this like off-the-chart stuff. Ooh, we're wet here. God, this car is so good. Like this tight, twisty stuff, man, this is what the Cayman is for. My Mustang would be a little much to huck around here. Now, once we get in the fast, longer sweepers, that's where that car would shine, but this thing is a doll here in these twisties. So what do I think of the 718 GTS? I really love this car. In many ways, I could see myself owning one. It's just not that exciting at low speed, and that's mostly due to just what we've already talked about, in the fact of it doesn't make a very good noise. It's just kind of a sewing machine 4-cylinder noise. So when you don't have a car that sounds good on its own at low speed, it's kind of just whatever. But when you get in these canyons, it really comes alive. And gosh, like I said before, when you can just pop in this thing and go quickly. Mulholland, hey. Well, guys, thanks for watching this episode. I'm so glad that the weather finally cleared up and I was able to get to enjoy this car on some mostly dry roads. At least the sunshine is out and it feels more like California. I was very worried that my Ohio roots, when I came out here and I brought all the rain and even snow when I was up in Angeles Crest earlier this morning. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below of the 718 GTS. I think it's a wonderful car, and I'm going to be checking them out on the used market and seeing what their prices are doing for sure, because definitely at some point I'm going to own one of these. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I make videos like this every Friday. Comes out 8 a.m. Eastern every Friday morning. And if you want to follow me in between episodes, you can check me out on Instagram at Eat Sleep Drive TV. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Eat Sleep Drive. I'm going to go and continue to enjoy the Cayman GTS. On this episode of Eat Sleep Drive, we have a review of the Awesome.